All right, everybody, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Always ready to dive in.
Okay, perfect. Today we're tackling a function in Excel. That's kind of a mouthful, right? It's called the FIRSTNONBLANKVALUE function.
Yeah, that is a long one.
It is a long one, but it's super useful once you really break it down.
Absolutely. Like all DAX functions, it's super powerful.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that for a second. Like, what are DAX functions?
Well, DAX stands for Data Analysis Expressions.
Okay.
And they're basically just these specialized formulas specifically made for working with data in Excel.
So it's not just like your normal basic Excel formula that you might know from back in the day.
Right. Exactly.
Cool. Okay, so how does FIRSTNONBLANKVALUE fit into all of this?
Well, imagine you have this big spreadsheet, right?
Okay.
You're tracking sales data or website traffic, something like that. And there are these gaps in your data where maybe some values are missing.
This is pretty common, right? Like not all regions will report sales figures every month.
Exactly. And that's where FIRSTNONBLANKVALUE comes in handy. It essentially looks through your data, figures out the order, and then picks out that first value that isn't blank.
So in our sales example, it would find the first month where every region actually reported sale, so I can finally start comparing them accurately.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense than when I first read about it. I initially thought it was just about finding the highest score or something.
Oh, it's way more versatile than that.
Okay, so I get what it does now, but how do you actually write the formula? Like, what are the pieces of this thing?
Okay, so the formula itself has two main parts. You've got column and you've got expression.
Okay, column sounds pretty self-explanatory. You're just telling the function which column of data to look at. Right?
Exactly. And then expression is where it gets a little more interesting because you can actually do stuff with the values in that column.
So I'm not just stuck grabbing the first non-blank value. I can actually, like, calculate things based on it.
Exactly. So for example, let's say you're looking at website traffic, right? And you've got some days where data is missing. Instead of just finding the first non-blank traffic number, you could use FIRSTNONBLANKVALUE to calculate, say, the percentage change in traffic from the previous non-blank day.
Oh, that's cool. So even though I have gaps, I can still see how the traffic is trending over time.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not just about finding any value. It's about finding the first one that fits the criteria.
Precisely.
Gotcha. Now, I was looking at the notes for this episode, and there's something about another function called FIRSTNONBLANK. How is that different? They sound pretty similar.
Yeah, they do sound similar, but there is a key difference. FIRSTNONBLANK doesn't take filters into account. So if you've filtered your data, FIRSTNONBLANK might give you a different result than FIRSTNBLANKVALUE, which can be a bit confusing.
So if I'm working with a really big spreadsheet with lots of filters applied, it sounds like FIRSTNONBLANKVALUE is the way to go.
Yeah, definitely for large data sets.
Okay, perfect. Now, there's another note here that I wanted to ask about. It says something about FIRSTNONBLANKVALUE not being recommended for visual calculations.
Good catch.
What are those, and why wouldn't we want to use it for those?
Visual calculations are basically just how Excel represents data in charts and graphs. And the issue with using FIRSTNONBLANKVALUE in those situations is that it can lead to some weird, misleading results, especially if you have a lot of gaps in your data.
So like imagine a line chart where the line suddenly jumps up or down because it's trying to connect data points that aren't actually consecutive.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, so it's kind of like using a hammer to screw in a light bulb. It might technically work, but it's not really the right tool for the job.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Okay. Any other limitations we should be aware of?
Yeah, there are a couple. So one is that FIRSTNONBLANKVALUE can't be used when you're in direct query mode.
What does that even mean?
Direct query mode is basically a way of connecting to an external data source so that any changes in that source are automatically reflected in your Excel spreadsheet. But FIRSTNONBLANKVALUE doesn't work in that environment.
Okay, so live data connections are a no-go. Anything else?
Yeah, it's also not supported for certain tasks like creating calculated columns or setting up row-level security, which controls who can see what data.
Got it. So FIRSTNONBLANKVALUE is super powerful, but it does have a few quirks we need to be aware of.
Right.
But overall, it seems like understanding this function can be a huge asset for anyone who's serious about working with data in Excel, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. I remember when I first discovered this function, it was like a game changer for me.
It's like when you finally learn that keyboard shortcut that you should have been using all along, and suddenly everything is so much easier.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So thinking beyond sales and web traffic, what other scenarios would make FIRSTNONBLANKVALUE a lifesaver for our listeners? Well, I think anytime you need to pinpoint the first occurrence of something within a data set, that's where this function can really shine.
Okay.
So think like the first time a customer made a purchase, or the first instance a sensor picked up a change, or even the first day a stock price hit a certain threshold.
Oh, that's a great example.
That-
So really, anywhere you need to find that first crucial data point, first non-blank value, could be your new best friend.
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. Hopefully everyone listening feels a little more confident about using this powerful Excel function.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for more ways to use first non-blank value, just remember, think creatively. The possibilities are pretty much endless. Until next time, keep on diving.
Keep diving.